My parents were in San Francisco when they were forcefully removed from their home.
And my grandfather was one of those who was rounded up, arrested on the night of December 7.
My husband's grandfather was picked up in the weeks after Pearl Harbor was bombed.
He told me how he was just given a few days' notice to pack up some bags. They were not told where they were going. They spent days on a train. They arrived at this place that was so cold in February 1945.
They were forced to address 2 loyalty questionnaires for the government to determine their loyalty, even though they had already been removed from their home.
There were lawsuits that showed that that was unconstitutional to have people renounce their citizenship under duress.
This was the government's way of legally treating them as people who had no rights. The Snow Country Prison Memorial is our story as well as the Native American story.
There is a parallel story of what happened to the Native people.
The United States did not fulfill their treaty responsibilities in the agreements that they had with the tribes. We were placed on reservation lands.
Many Japanese American concentration camps were built explicitly on reservation land.
Mass incarceration, mass removal from homes, separation of families,
Made to suffer imprisonment.
loss of material and generational wealth. All of these things have impacted both communities.
Just because they were part of an ethnic group that seemed to be in the government's way.
I come from a tribe of people called the Hunkpapa Lakota. One of the greatest, we feel, in the nation, a fellow by the name of Sitting Bull, would fit very well into this category of renunciates because he refused to accept America on its terms of conditions and said, if I'm going to accept an America, it will be on my terms and conditions.
United Tribes has existed on the Fort Lincoln site since 1968-69 when the tribes of North Dakota took over this facility.
It's as if the Native community stepped up to be compassionate witnesses about our experience, out of empathy from their own suffering.
We heard from internee survivors and internee family members about what their ideas would be to have a memorial.
And now we're here close to having the first phase of the memorial completed.
The term Snow Country Prison originates with Satsuki's father, Itaro Ina, wrote haiku poetry when he was imprisoned here at Fort Lincoln.
He wrote, "The war is over, but I'm still in a snow country prison."
One of the things that's valuable about memorials and monuments of this type are that it becomes a potential site of remembrance as well as repair.
It invites this feeling of community. People come together to learn, to share.
Kintsugi is the Japanese art form in which typically a broken pottery piece is put back together again.
And so it's a way of remembering.
And it actually gives more value to the piece of pottery. And that's reflected in the design of the walls, where the names of all the internees will be.
Using these slate pieces, building materials that were left here, now being put into another good use in the wall. The design incorporates a circular area which can be a ceremonial circle.
We're hoping that this garden, once it's completed, will become this spiritual place for us to do ceremonies, to do recognition, to become a site that's based in spirituality.
It will be a place where our community could have events to educate and pass on the stories.
There's a natural audience of students and educators associated with the college who are going to be exposed to this on a regular basis. It's just going to be part of the college environment.
All of the elements have been in place to try to recognize what occurred here and also to try to bring about some healing.
It's an opportunity to reflect on
The stories that have been minimized and distorted.
the power of different communities to look at things with a different truth.
And that people are working together to make sure that history is told by the people who suffered.
And I believe just recognizing what happened and sharing what happened helps us move in that direction.
That being allies and friends and caring about each other and supporting one another gives us a stronger voice to prevent injustices from happening again.